times when you think, hang on a minute, that didn't sound right. You move the finger and you think, oh, it should be there. And it's just, that's just a few days or a week. But if you don't use it for like 3 or 4 weeks, again, it has an exponential effect. You forget more and more and more.
Yeah.
And like you say, if the funding's not coming through and the classes aren't running, it's hard work to, like you say, keep that momentum going. I mean, well, my stepson's really lucky. The school that he's at has got a fantastic music department. I went to their summer fete last year, and if I remember rightly, it was the music teacher, the head teacher, and the vice head. They played a whole load of contemporary music, Kings of Leon, the Killers, and all that sort of stuff. And I was sitting there going, and this is the teachers doing this for the kids. And I'm thinking, well, those teachers are going to be cool dudes for the rest of the year. But more importantly, it's getting all the other kids that are sitting there at this summer fete, eating burgers or whatever. They're thinking, hang on a minute, this is really cool. If these old fogies can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
And there's a girl band out of my stepson's school, and I think they've now been on the BBC. There's a BBC thing that goes on the TV and the radio in the UK. It's called BBC Introducing, and it picks up all the local bands and things. And that's how I got played on the BBC. Well, I say I got played. I played live on the BBC last year, last April, and that was how I got onto BBC Radio and did a live set. But yeah, there's some really good things going on. But like you say, it's getting that funding through, and that's really important. And there's a lot of people out there I think have the opinion, oh yeah, music, the arts, opera, yeah, it's all a bunch of lovies, just smiling and grinning at each other, and it's not. There are people out there that are working their butts off at the moment.
Yeah.
To give you an example, Cherry Suede that I went to see last week. They've just done a tour of the UK, haven't stopped for like 10 days. And, you suddenly think to yourself, the hours that these guys must be doing, it's hard work, and they're in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Oh, I say foreign, Canada and the UK, it's not that foreign. but you get the idea.
Yeah.
They're a long way from home, they've got work to do, and getting those breaks is really, really difficult. It's really, really difficult to the industry now, it's been crucified. All these record companies, they looked at iTunes and laughed, and that was their biggest mistake. Biggest mistake. And now, because of the way the internet and technology's gone, the music companies now are running scared, which is why I'm quite happy to remain independent at the moment. However, I do have some exciting news on that front. There are a few little snippets of record labels and things beginning to encroach into my radar. Put it this way.
That's great.
I noticed Froggy's not in the chat room tonight, but yeah, she's been an absolute star in promoting my music for me, both here and elsewhere on other radio stations and things as well. She's got some really good friends and stuff. She's been great, and it's people like that who are happy to put that little bit of time in. And I'm really lucky. I'm so blessed to have such a lovely group of people like you guys, like you, that play my music and basically get it out there. I can do so much, but you guys, you get it played, other people listen to it. For example, I've got Karen in the chat room listening to this interview, and that to me means so much, because we share a common interest. We like similar music. You hook up with somebody, they listen to your music, and then they come in and come up to the next level where they come and listen to interviews and things like that. And it's really damn hard work. I put a lot of time in to my music, much to my lovely Angel's annoyance. I drive Michelle nuts with it sometimes. I really
Aww.
do.
Well, that's
luckily
it's
I've got
funny.
a tolerant woman there, so.
Hey, that's true. That always helps. It's funny that you should mention that, because Shaun from Hunting Heather in the chat room was just saying most people don't quite get how much work actually goes into the song. It may take them 30 seconds to download, but it may have taken the artist 8+ some odd hours just, or maybe it took them 20 takes to get that song done, to where it is.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I totally agree with him. Totally agree with him. It can take, well, 8 hours is quite low, I would say. It does take a lot of time.
yeah,
It takes a lot of time, and people don't realise the amount of dedication and time it takes. I mean,
exactly.
everybody jokes to me. They say, "Oh yeah, you've written a song called 3 a.m. in the morning. Was it written at 3 a.m.?" And it's like, well, yeah, because I've been working on it for God knows how many hours before that. So,
Yeah. So, but yeah, a lot of
that
people think, it's just easy and you spit out a song. And to be honest, me being on the other side, like a fan side of things, but then I kind of thought the same thing too. But then, over the years, as I moved to the other side and I was behind the scenes, I worked with a lot of bands, in the studio and getting CDs done and stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff going on behind on the other side that people don't even know about. I mean, there's somebody, what's his name? Russell Michael. I'm not sure how you know. Somehow he spits out a song, one song a week. You know, how he does that, I don't know. But
he's got way too much time on his hands.
either that or I mean I don't know. Do you think there's a difference in a song that maybe, I mean, I know some people things just come to them real fast and they can just, spit out the lyrics, or they've got the tune already in their head and stuff and they can spit it out like in a day, versus maybe there's another song that might have taken them a week or so to do. I mean, do you think there's a difference, or it just depends on things, as they come to you?
It does depend. It really does depend. I mean, to give you an example, my track "Heroine of the Soul," that took me to get the lyrics down and the melody sorted. Took me about 35 minutes, but that was because it was something. I mean, that song is all about being in a bad relationship, and I've been there, and I've been in a relationship that I shouldn't have been in. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't healthy, and that one just came out. It was waiting to come out, I think, and it just went blip, and it was there. And I thought, right, okay, I've got the lyrics. I mean, it's only Heron of the Soul is 4 chords, because it's a really, really simple. Well, it started off as a very acoustic song, and then we started adding, a little bit of keyboards, a little bit of strings in there, and it worked really well with that. But that one didn't take long to write, but to actually record, it took a good 5-6 hours, maybe more.
Oh.
And it's the recording side of it that, I mean, I can quite happily, probably crank out a song a week if I put my mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd rather crank out a song every 2 or 3 weeks and have a song that I'm able to refine and improve and basically craft to a point where I'm extremely happy with it. I mean, you know what I'm like. I won't release anything until it has actually come out of the studio and me and my producer David are happy with it. That's the only time it comes out of the studio.
That is great.
I mean,
that is great.
Today is a prime example. I've only put a guide vocal down, whereas the demo, it sounds great, and the guide vocal is okay, but it's not where I want it to be yet, so it won't be coming out yet.
You know what? That's what I like to hear. I mean, I love all the artists that I know, that I talk to all the time. Some such as yourself, I have gotten to know pretty well, and we talk all the time. And I love it that they can just crank out the tunes and everything. But there's 2 artists. I'm not going to say who they are because they're well known, but it drives me freaking nuts. One guy is always yelling, not yelling at me, but I say that in a joking way because I've known him for like 10 years. But he's always teasing me saying I'm playing the wrong version. I go, well, how in the hell can I get the right version when you're sending me 20 different versions? Don't send me a song until, like you say, it's done. You're completely 100% happy with it. Don't send me a demo or anything, I mean, it doesn't make sense for me. And there's another person, he's a good friend, and I tell him all the time, he made me pull a song, and I love the song, but he told me to pull it and not play it anymore because he was coming up with a new, better version of it. I said, that's fine. When you give me that new, better version, then I'll pull it, and I'll swap them out. I go, you shouldn't have given me the song if you weren't completely happy 100% with it. It just
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense, and it drives me nuts. These two do it all the time. I mean, I love them to death. We're really good friends and stuff, but I don't see any sense in just rushing and throwing something half crocked out there. Take your time, get it to where you're completely, totally, 100% satisfied with everything. And, don't worry about the fans or the listeners out there. They're always going to be there. If they really like you and they really care about your music and stuff, they'll wait for you. They'll want you to take your time and put out some good stuff. But one guy keeps telling me, "Oh, I got to get stuff out. I got to get stuff out for my fans and everything." I said, don't rush it. Don't rush it. But, it drives me nuts. So I like the
Yeah,
fact
I'm with you on that.
that you
I'm
take
with you
your
on that.
time.
I was very eager to get stuff out when I first started recording. And I mean, I'm extremely lucky. Dave, my producer, he's a good friend. He's also let's think, he's probably about 15 years older than me. So he's got a little bit more world experience, but he's been in the music biz, excuse me, for about the last 40 odd years.
Hmm.
And I say that, no, 30 odd years. I'm doing him a discredit here, 30 odd years. And he's just got a lot of experience, a lot of contacts. But what I like about him is I'll be writing something and thinking, yeah, I'm really going for it, and he'll go, hang on a minute, just hold your horses and let's take a step back. Why don't we try this? And he'll just literally, it'll be a chord, it'll be a melody, it'll be a change of a line where the actual verbiage on the line changes slightly.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, the little light bulb goes on above your head, and you think, yes, got it, nailed it, that's what I needed. And he's done that to me so many times, bless him, and love him to bits for it, because he's the guy who basically makes me sound as good as I do. And that's not me being big-headed, it's he gets the sound out of me, he gets the sound out of my head and onto either a disc or a memory stick or whatever. And just a great guy. I mean, he embedded it in my head. He said, nothing comes out of the studio until it's done. And I've got into that ethic as well. And I like that ethic. And like you say, the fans will always be there. And if they're true fans, they will stick around, they will wait, and they will listen. If they're not true fans and they're too impatient, well, hey, sorry.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
developing this music so that I'm proud of it, but also, more importantly, anybody who buys it or listens to it will be proud of it too.
Exactly. I would rather an artist take their time and do a good job and be happy with it than just the rush and throw out something, just half there. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I just recently took on an artist back, a couple months ago, back in March. He's young, but he's got a great voice. Well, not really young, but younger than me. He's got a great voice. He had his EP come out in 2009. He's working on a new album that's going to be released shortly. But he even asked me what my thoughts were. He's going, okay, this is where I am with the album. I've got so many songs done now. I've got so many here still on the burner working. He goes, what should I do? Should I just, push out another EP, or should I just wait and take my time and, push the release date out a little further and come up with a few more songs, or what? And so I told him, and I'm glad. It was very, very nice that he asked me what my opinion was and everything. And I told him, I said, because some people do it and they might be able to get away with it, releasing a whole bunch of different EPs and then coming out with a CD. But my personal opinion is, yeah, release an EP with a couple of songs on it, give people a feel for you, give them a little bit of what you're about.